when you combine a best-selling author who speaks out against illegal immigration and an immigrant rights group that wants to push him back to the margins where he belongs. A more exciting than average book signing, and we were there with camera rolling. Lou Dobbs came to Chicago last week, and the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights wasn't happy about it. So they announced a protest on the local indie media website. In the spirit of free speech, indie media lent a helping hand by deleting comments in support of, well, free speech. But was the ICIRR able to use the question and answer period to bring the factual smackdown? Without further ado, I give you Lou Dobbs.
Not much of a thought. Yes, ma'am. Great.
Men, women, and children who have died crossing that river.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Rhetoric about the wall securing the borders.
Rhetoric, excuse me, ma'am. Is it rhetoric to talk about those 238 lives?
Let her speak.
A belief and policy about a law that does not talk about it being failed and to testament to the witness of those lives.
I'm as concerned as you. I agree. And why in hell aren't you holding the government of Mexico accountable for that order? I'm sure. What gives you the right to condescend to the government of Mexico and excuse its absolute negligence and its failure to enforce security on that border? And how dare you blame the United States for a government that is calling those citizens so impoverished and so desperate that they would risk and many lose their lives in that desert, and we do not have a policy to support the government of Mexico. How dare you? How dare you be so righteous about it? Then you seek forgiveness because you really need some help. You're blaming the United States for those people's lives being lost in the desert of Sonora? I'll give you an honest debate. How dare you hold the United States accountable and try to blame us for that? How dare you? Why do you not speak the name Felipe Calderon, Vicente Fox, the government of Mexico? You are not speaking of a U.S. border enforcement strategy because there isn't one.
Is that their idea of an effective protest? An indignant, self-congratulatory walkout on free speech and honest debate? And as far as pushing Lou Dobbs back to the margins goes, Lou Dobbs 1, ICIRR 0. The victims: Sally Newell, 50, Brian Newell, 51, Jacqueline Newell, 18, and Andrew Newell, 22. The accused: Juan Manuel Juarez Reyes, 24, an illegal alien from Mexico. The charges: driving while impaired, driving without a license, 3 counts of causing serious injury by vehicle, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury, and second-degree murder. The story. On the night of Friday, November 23rd, a Watauga County, North Carolina sheriff was dispatched in response to a phone call reporting an erratic driver on the roads. Sally Newell was driving the family's car with her husband and children inside and was stopped, waiting to make a turn, when Reyes slammed into them from behind, doing 55 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. The Newell's vehicle, pushed out into the road by the impact, struck the very patrol car that was out looking for Reyes. Sally and Jacqueline were injured, treated and released. Brian remains hospitalized in serious condition. But 22-year-old Drew, a local community college student, died of his injuries at the hospital. According to ICE, Reyes, who was uninjured, has entered the country illegally at least twice. He was deported in 2002. Citizen journalist Right on Mom gets it just right at AssociatedContent.com. Everyone knows that the wreck was not caused because Reyes was an illegal. The feeling in the community is that if Reyes was not in this country, Drew Newell would still be with his family. Because if our government had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Reyes wouldn't have been here to kill Drew Newell, seriously injure his father, and leave an entire American family devastated, making this crime 100% preventable. The victim, Betty Coates, 42, of North Carolina. The accused, Evelyn Fabio Ocampo Cruz, 22, an illegal alien from Honduras. The charges: felony assault with a deadly weapon, driving while impaired, reckless driving, failure to reduce speed, and possession of a revoked license. The story: Coates was on the highway heading home from work early on October 25th when Cruz, drunk and driving the wrong way, hit her head-on. The crash shattered her thigh and ankle bones. Coates remained hospitalized for nearly a month, undergoing 3 surgeries to repair the damage. Court records show that Cruz was under probation for multiple offenses. In the first half of 2006, he was convicted of a DWI, stealing a car, breaking and entering, reckless driving, and passing an emergency vehicle. The end of last year brought charges of resisting an officer and possession of stolen goods. And the icing on top of the Screw America cake? Cruz received a deportation order in 2002. He's been considered a fugitive ever since. Of course, if our government had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Cruz wouldn't have been here to literally wreck the life of an American family. And Betty Coates wouldn't have to explain to her 2-year-old son why Mommy can't play with him like she used to, because she's recuperating from a crime that was 100% preventable. The victim, an 8-month-old Georgia girl. The criminal, Eligio Chiaduron, an illegal alien from Mexico. The crimes: aggravated battery, aggravated child molestation, and child cruelty. The story: Chiaduron was living in Forest Park, Georgia with the victim's mother, although he still has a wife and children in Mexico. Fabiola Delgado Mata left her 8-month-old daughter in Chiaduron's care while she went out on dates. Enraged that she was dating other men, he decided to take his anger out on an innocent 8-month-old baby. Chiaduron admitted that he beat and molested the girl. Several weeks ago, a jury took just 20 minutes to come back with a conviction. But is there any punishment severe enough for what he did to this girl? Now only 19 months old, the girl is paralyzed from the waist down and will spend her life in a wheelchair. The sexual abuse left her unable to bear children, and Chiaduron shook her hard enough to sustain brain damage. According to Assistant District Attorney John Turner, he's shown no remorse or sense of responsibility. This is one of the worst, if not the worst, cases of abuse most of us have ever seen. Of course, if our government had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Chiaduron wouldn't have been here to viciously attack, beat, and rape an 8-month-old child, making this crime, like all crimes committed by illegal aliens, 100% preventable. Thanks for clicking in to this week's episode of the Blogs for Borders video blog burst. We'll be back with another blog burst next week right here on YouTube, so be sure to tune in. And if more illegal immigration news is what you crave, you're in luck. We're happy to announce that next week our very first half-hour show will be hosted at technopatriots.com. You won't want to miss it. We close this week with a quote we saw ironically just before the Lou Dobbs book signing. On the wall of the main Chicago Public Library just across the street, we found this gem from John F. Kennedy. Let us welcome controversial books and controversial authors.